What is up, guys? Fire here from AwesomeTuts.com, and moving forward with our game, we're gonna add the robot. So the initial robot, the player, the hero, however you want to call him, the dude who is gonna kill all the other robots, and we are gonna attach all of his components. You're gonna talk about point lights and what they do, so on and so forth. But before that, if you are serious into jumping in 3D game development or Unity game development in more depth, apply for jobs, work in the game industry, this is the course for you. 3D game development, make 3D games in Unity. Go and grab the course. It's pretty awesome. You have nothing to lose but a lot to gain. If you don't like it, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can easily click on a button, refund, and voila, you're good to go if you don't like the course. But believe me, you will definitely like the course. It got some awesome reviews. It is just awesome. It's cool. I spent a lot of time making it and preparing it. So give it a shot and let me know what you think about it. So moving forward now, let us, as I said, add our robot. So he's located into models, and here he is, this Vulcan. So simply drag and drop him here, and voila, here he is. This is the Vulcan. This is our robot. So if I zoom in, here he is. We need to rotate him, but don't worry about that. Let me just take him and put him at 0, 0, 0 for X, Y, and Z. And we need to create a new game object. So right click into the hierarchy, create an empty game object, which I'm gonna name a robot, and position that thing on 0, 0, 0. So 0, 0, 0 for X, Y, and Z. And the Vulcan, so the 3D model, is gonna be a child of this robot game object that I've just created. So select the Vulcan and drag it below the robot. So now we can move the robot, who is the parent, and the child game object, which is our robot here, the Vulcan, will move along with it. And I'm gonna take and rotate our robot 90 degrees like this, so that he, is facing, this direction, as you can see. And now let's add components that we need for, the robot. So select the robot game object, not the Vulcan, this one right here, not this one, but the robot, so the parent, this game object, and we're gonna go under add component, and we're gonna add a rigid body component. We are also gonna freeze the position and constraints, and we're gonna freeze for X, Y, and Z, so rotation for X, Y, and Z, and freeze the position on the Z axis. Now, these, and I have demonstrated this a lot of time also for a 2D game that we created, or 2D games that we have created, and I'm not sure if I demonstrated for 3D games, but anyways, if we don't freeze the rotation, the game object will behave strangely. So for example, we are going to move the game object, he will start rotating, falling down. This is not what we want. If I remember when we test the movement, I will uncheck these checkboxes and show you that in action. So now that we add this rigid body, we're also going to add a component that is called constant force. So we have a constant force and constant force 2D. 2D is obviously for 2D games, and constant force is for 3D games. Now you have here a couple of options. So you have the force, relative force, torque, and relative torque. And what is this constant force? Well, if I go here and go into Google and type constant force or Unity constant force, here it is. If I open this link, it will tell us what it is. So it says constant force is a quick utility for adding constant forces to your rigid body. This works great for one-shot objects like rockets, if you don't want it to start with a large velocity but instead accelerate. So you can read what it is here: the vector of force to be applied in world space, the vector of force to be applied in objects local space, torque, blah, blah, blah. But essentially, most things that you have in programming, like here, constant force, the name tells you what it is. It will apply a constant force on a game object. You just need to know what are these. So torque, relative to torque, relative force, and force, which you can read here. So you can read what these are, and then you will know for which force you are applying. So I'm gonna go to the force, which is, if we go here, it says the vector of a force to be applied in world space. Now, I did not talk that much about world space in Unity and local space, but world space is this what we see. This is world space in Unity. Local space is into respect to the local space of the game object. So notice the robot, which is the parent. This Vulcan is a child of that game object. Notice how I changed the position of this robot to 138 and negative 7.41 for the y-axis. But the strange thing or interesting thing here is that the Vulcan, who is a child, his position did not change. Notice, even if I take the robot now and if I move him left and right, if I put him here, notice the Vulcan, the child, his position will stay at 0, 0, 0. Notice the robot, it's currently at position negative 2. If I move him, so he is now at position 1 for the X, but the child still has 0, 0, 0. This is the local coordinate. This is in respect to the local coordinate of the Vulcan, because when we move the parent, the local coordinates of the Vulcan will not change. But if we take the Vulcan and now move him left and right, up and down, then his coordinates will in fact change. But I will probably create a separate tutorial to talk only about the world space and local space and whatnot. Anyways, I'm gonna apply negative 20 constant force, so force on y-axis, negative 20 on the robot, which will apply force in world space. So relative to this, what we see here, relative to the world space. Next, what we need is we need to add a box collider. So type or filter for the box collider, and we are gonna add it. Also for the material of the box collider, click on the little circle, and we're gonna select this metal. It is gonna give us like a metalish effect for the robot. So like he is made from metal. This is what it's gonna do. And this is located into the standard assets we got from Unity and then physics materials. And here it is. And you can go here and see the properties of it. So dynamic friction, static friction, bounciness, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So we apply these materials on a box collider. Now I also talked about these physics materials in my course in more depth. I go, everything that I mentioned, world space, local space, the physics materials, all of that I cover a lot in my course. So if you're interested to know more before I create some tutorials to talk about that here, you can go into the course. And now I'm gonna change the scale of the box collider as we see here and position. So for the Y position, I am gonna set it at 0.7. I'm gonna change here so X can stay 1, Y is gonna be 1.38, and the Z axis is gonna be 0.8. This is for our robot. As we can see, well, now you see where the collider is. And I have troubles with my mouse, so ignore this glitching while I am showing you where the collider is. We also need to attach an audio source, so audio source component, so that we can, well, play the audio for our game object. I'm also gonna uncheck play on awake, but I'm gonna check the loop. And for the audio clip, I am gonna search for the gunshot. It is located here into sound. So there are two ways to add these. You can either select the robot, drag and drop the gunshot here, or click on the little circle next to the empty field, and then you are gonna, well, select the gunshot. And voila, you're good to go. Now, what we need to do, and unfortunately still we are not gonna code some things. I know you're gonna be mad, but I don't care. I need to show you these things. We're gonna take the sphere 1, which is this one right here. So if I uncheck it, notice this is the left or the right arm. So I'm gonna type here right arm. And the other one, so sphere 002, is the left arm. We need to add some components to it. So what are these components? Well, these are the muzzle. So the muzzle or the shooting that you saw, these are actually the particles. So what we need to do is I'm gonna right click and import a custom package. And we're gonna go into our packages here. And we need to import this muzzle FX, so muzzle FX or effects. So double click on it, it will import it, and voila, here it is, we are good to go. I'm gonna click import, and voila. If I go into the prefabs and put these muzzles here, notice, this is what we have. This is the shooting. Now, I just need to change the color of these, and for that, I'm gonna go into materials, create material. I'm gonna name this one player material because I'm also gonna attach it on the robot or on the player. So drag and drop this, attach it on the Vulcan. and also attach it on the muzzle. So attach it on the muzzle on the Vulcan, and I can change just a little bit the color. So just a little bit. So if I select now the muzzle, notice it is not shooting the purple particles. And because the muzzle is a prefab, hit apply so that the change applies to the prefab. So here it is. This is the muzzle. Again, hit apply, and notice now it is simulating, well, the shooting. This is what we are gonna add on our player. So take the muzzle, and I am gonna put it, well, under the right arm and select it here in the hierarchy 0, 0, 0 for X, Y, and Z so that it comes right here. Let me just see where it is. Stop, please. And I'm gonna position it like this so that it is shooting from, well, the game object, of course, so that we simulate that the robot is shooting. And it needs to go here. Is it okay now? I think this is okay. So this is the position. I'm gonna duplicate it and simply position it under left arm. Let me just stop the simulation and rename it. Don't name it muzzle 1 or in parentheses 1. This will be the default name because we have duplicated it, but I am simply gonna change it back to muzzle and, well, put this one right here. So put it something like this. I think this is okay. And I'm gonna select the other muzzle and just simply position them a little bit up, and we are good to go. If I take both of these, so both of these, well, we cannot display both, but we can only display one. Anyways, this is what we want. This is the effect. And then we are gonna detect when we shoot a robot, when these particle effects touches another robot, he is gonna die. So moving forward, what we need to do, and by the way, I just created a player material and it's on the standard shader, and I just played with the colors, set the color here to be a little bit silver, and attach that material on the Vulcan here. So you can see here player material, and attached it on the muzzle here. So we also have that material. And by the way, if you want to check or put the color same as I did, it's A7, 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 FF. This is the hex color that you can use to set the same color as I did. So now I am gonna create a light. So on the right arm, right click and create, go under light, and we're gonna create a point light. This is what we want. So this right here, this is a point light. So what is a point light? Well, a point light is different from directional light. A point light is gonna, well, the name says it's gonna make light at a certain point. And I cannot, can I display it? Let me just try to display it here. I need to go into the game view actually. So we need to go into the game view. Do you see the light here? If I try to move it, so I'm moving it. Do you see the light being moved? So do you see it now? It is moving on the robot. And let me just pump up the intensity. Notice now you cannot miss it. You probably see it now. So this is the point light. So you have the intensity on it. You have the range. So how far or what should it affect? You also have here the baking, which I talked about, real-time, baked, or mixed. You have here the color, so you can change the color for it. Now I'm gonna set the color at, let me just see it here. So FF 4F00FF. This is the color that I want. So this one right here, FF 4F00FF. Again, you can pause the video in order to set the same color as I did, because we are going to use this to simulate, and we cannot preview it here into the scene view, but we can, let me just go back here. We do see it here into the game view. If I move the light, so I'm moving it, now you definitely see the light. And let me just pump up the intensity again. Now you definitely see it. This is a point light. This is different from the directional light that we talked about, because the point light will simply cast light on a certain point. It will not cast light into the whole scene as the directional light. And the point light can actually be affected by position. So I'm moving the position on the X left and right. It's not affected by rotation as directional light. So these also need to be attached on the robots. I'm going to put them right here. This is the left light, or actually this is the right light. And I'm gonna duplicate it and position the other one here, and this is gonna be the left, right? So position it under the left arm, so I'm simply gonna hit enter, rename this to left, right. Left, right. Left, light, what am I talking about? Anyways, this was it for this tutorial, guys. I'm sorry again that we did not do any coding. Starting from the next video, we are definitely gonna code the robot's movement and so on and so forth, everything that comes with it. But we needed to, well, create our robot. We also need to go into the prefabs, drag and drop the robot prefab. Now, usually, you know me, I would create folders to group all of this here. So you can do that. I'm probably gonna be lazy on this one and not group everything. So here it is, the robot dude, and voila, that is that. We talked about point lights, point lights. We talked about, well, this constant force that we did not saw so far. We imported the robot, we prepared him, added everything that we need so that we can start coding from the next video. Again, sorry that we did not code nothing, but starting next video we will. So, Fahir here from AwesomeTuts.com. If you want to learn everything in more depth, what I'm talking about, what I just mentioned, point lights, directional lights, constant force, world points, local points, screen space coordinates and whatnot, you should definitely go on my website and, well, get the course. If you want cheaper, to get the course cheaper, that is, go and download the files for this tutorial. So you can download the robot, you can download all of these particle effects, you can download all of these assets and the complete project, and you can use it for whatever you want to use it. Commercial or personal purpose, I don't care, it's yours. The link is in the description below, so go and grab them and then you will be on my mailing list and then you will get lower or higher discounts actually for my courses. So, see you guys in the next video.